All right, so today we have the difficult task of getting rid of a sidekick from Avatar: The Last Airbender, one of the greatest shows. If you're some reason listening and you didn't see the show, see the show. It's amazing. All right, so anyway, with that being said, we got 3 up today. We got Uncle Iroh, sidekick to Zuko, Prince Zuko. And then we got Ty Lee, sidekick to Princess Azula, and then we got Sokka, sidekick to Aang. I don't know why I just paused so hard on that, but anyway, so that's what we got. And we're talking about that sidekick, so we got to get rid of one, and it's tough because I would say these 3 are all very amazing sidekicks, and so yeah, let's just go through it. So I always want to start with usefulness because that's what we're talking about as a sidekick. You got to be useful. And it's hard to say anyone's not useful. Everybody in this group has, not only as a character, done their own thing as far as feats and different parts of the story, but they also have done pivotal things to help out the person they're supporting. So obviously Sokka, probably not the strongest fighter, but he grew and he continued to grow, and he used his mind a lot. That was one of the points the show made. Like you don't have to just fight to be a valuable part of the team. And so Sokka had to do a lot of navigation for Team Avatar, who really just out of nowhere, from episode 1 had to get up and go and just figure it out. And he did a lot of navigation, and he was really handy. I mean, he had to learn at first, never seen the air bison. He got to a point where he knew how to fly with Appa. Obviously reading the maps, obviously figuring things out. And he wasn't always great, but he did figure out a lot of different strategy. But then you talk about someone like Iroh, who just he's a better fighter than the person he's a sidekick to. He's a sidekick definitely, but I would even say you could say he's a mentor or a master. And so he is the best fighter out of the group. And obviously he's been trapped, but for the most part, he's resourceful and he's a beast when it comes to firebending. So not only did he train Zuko, but he had the added burden of really ushering the development of Zuko as a man and a person, to really realize what he wanted out of life. Was it to conquer and be the Fire Lord? Was it to do something different? Was it to just be under his father's wing? And the whole time, you never really had Iroh push Zuko in one way or the other. He was supporting him in what he was doing. Obviously, he had thoughts about what he wanted him to be, but he never pushed him. He allowed him the space to figure it out himself. And so you got that. And then, I mean, look, he could fight Azula. He could fight Ozai. He could get down with any of the benders. He's one of the White Lotus. Like, he's a monster there. But again, he was pivotal in helping Zuko get from point A to point B to point C, to eventually Zuko was out on his own and had to figure out his own path. But yeah, and then he did some stuff with the White Lotus towards the end as far as the fighting. Ty Lee, she could be a case for most useful though, because she brings something that other people can't. Like, Iroh might be a better fighter than Zuko, but they both are firebenders. They both kind of have the same resources, but he's obviously more knowledgeable. Sokka can't really do any bending, and so he can't, there's a lot more power that everybody in his group has that he doesn't. But Ty Lee can chi block, and nobody else can do that. And so she brings a skill that's rare to the group. And obviously she's very nimble, and because she can chi block, she really can go toe to toe with most people. And obviously she's got the charm and all that stuff. And so she's very useful. way more useful than May, in my opinion. So Ty Lee not only is super useful, but very loyal. Obviously, she's scared of Azula on some level or a lot of levels, but she's still loyal and she still does what Azula wants her to do, even though it's some horrific things. Now, we know she makes the choice in the end, but up until that point, she did a lot of the dirt. And that's sidekicks aren't exactly for doing dirt, but that's kind of part of it. You got to do the dirt for the person. You got to be able to put in the work at some point. And as far as putting in work, nobody put in more work than Ty Lee. I mean, the heavy lifting and fighting and stuff is going to be on Aang with Sokka. The heavy lifting on actions and decision making was with Zuko for Iroh. But for Ty Lee, she was more of a grunt almost. And so she had to do that work. But she also was the friend with Azula. And probably her closest friend. Because we all know Azula, after she was mad that May betrayed her. And she was ready to take her out. But it was Ty Lee betraying her that really, I think, set her over the edge, in which she never returned from at that point. So, yeah, there we go. So it's tough, man. I know I gave the merits for everybody, and it's tough to pick the first one that's safe. I should have really planned this out better, because those arguments convinced me. I don't know who to get rid of. I gotta go with Iroh first, and that's part biased because I love Iroh as a character. But again, it wasn't just the fighting. It wasn't just the training. It was the emotional and spiritual development of a man that went on that. He's not Aang, but very much a man that his journey could sway things one way or the other. And where he ended up and whose side he ended up on could really shape the fate of everything. And to do it in the way he did, where he wasn't, forceful or, bashing Zuko over the head, it's impressive. And then he could hold his own. And he's so resourceful. I gotta say Iroh is safe first. All right, so that brings it down between Ty Lee and Sokka. This is tough. I think because Ty Lee is so formidable. Like I said, even though it was a sneak attack, she still took Azula out. It's one thing to fight somebody. It's one thing to paralyze them. That's pretty powerful, but we're not talking about powerful fighters. Sokka did a lot. I don't know that he did a lot for the spiritual journey of Aang. I think that's more Katara. He definitely was adversarial at points with Aang, but it's good to have somebody to bounce things off of. And he helped kind of ground Aang. He definitely did that much, but oh man, I just don't know. He brings a lot to Team Avatar. I'm not saying he doesn't. I think for me, what it comes down to, if you have all the scenes with Azula where she rolls up and it's just May and there's no Ty Lee, I don't know that she makes it to the to the final, season 3 battle, because it's just that was one of the big trump cards she had. Now with Team Avatar, you take Sokka out, they lose something definitely, but you still got Toph, you still got Katara, and those are two master benders. And you got Appa, who is the transportation and a big time fighter as well. I don't know. Obviously, through the 3 seasons, there's many plot points where if Sokka didn't do this, then they wouldn't find that out. And I do not acknowledge that his mind is big, or a big part of the team, not just his fighting. I gotta go Sokka. Sokka's safe. And so I gotta get rid of Ty Lee. And I only got to get rid of Ty Lee because, yes, she's powerful, but I think that's it. I don't know what else she brings. Like, I mean, she brings a lot. She's loyal and all that, but I don't know if it's as much of a value to Azula as Sokka is to Team Avatar. Even on the surface, it's like, well, he's not their best fighter, but it's the thing is, Azula was hunting down the Avatar. A lot of resources. She knew how to do that. Or Zuko. She was hunting both of them down. She knew how to do that. With Avatar, Team Avatar, they were figuring everything out. They were figuring the spiritual ward out. They were figuring out the Fire Nation's plan. They were figuring out allies. They had to do a lot of solving. And without Sokka, I don't think they get it done. So that's the way I'm going. It's so tough. But go to the comment section. Let me know what you think. Share it around. Get the conversation started. Thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you for listening.